Good morning and welcome to the home of football. We are live from Wembley as Thomas Tuchel names his 26-man squad for the World Cup. A brotherhood he hopes will bring the trophy home. Thomas Tuchel, right, we're joined by our chief correspondent Carve Solical, former England striker Jay Bothroyd is here as well, and as I said, Rob Dorset will be in that news conference, and there are some tough questions. But first of all, Rob, what is the 26-man squad after all of the rumour over the last 24 hours?
So many leaks, the most leaked England squad ever before a major tournament, the most chaotic build-up to what the FA hoped would be an all-singing, all-dancing, glamorous affair. No surprises from what we've been telling you and other media outlets have been telling you for the last 12, 16 hours, or truth. The headlines: Ivan Toney is in. Thomas Tuchel is taking 3 strikers. Ollie Watkins is there, and of course Harry Kane is there as well. He's never selected 3 strikers before. Those that are missing: Harry Maguire, as we knew yesterday when he confirmed on social media. There is no Phil Foden. There is no Cole Palmer. Extraordinary decisions, you have to say, in terms of those. And also there is no, as we broke the news this morning exclusively on Sky Sports News, no Trent Alexander-Arnold. Instead it's Jed Spence who gets that final berth in the full-back positions. Those are your headlines. Let me run through the entire squad with you. Literally, this has just been given to us, so it's breaking news. We'll get it all shown up to you on the screen as soon as we possibly can. 3 goalkeepers. He has to take 3 goalkeepers. Most managers, head coaches, I don't think would want to take 3 goalkeepers to a tournament, but they have to under FIFA rules. Jordan Pickford, Dean Henderson and James Trafford. In the defence, you've got Mark Gay, Ezri Konsa, Wanser, who is a little bit of a surprise, John Stones, who is a little bit of a surprise, hasn't played 90 minutes of Premier League football since August. Dan Burn, who has been a mainstay for Thomas Tuchel throughout, and then the fullbacks: Tino Livramento, Reece James, Nico O'Reilly and Jed Spence. In the midfield, you've got Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice we fully expected, Kobbie Mainoo, who started the Euro final under Gareth Southgate, but hasn't been playing with Manchester United up until late, came into the England squad in March. He gets the nod again. He is part of this World Cup squad for Thomas Tuchel, as is Jordan Henderson and, of course, Jude Bellingham. In the forward department, Morgan Rogers, Marcus Rashford, the captain Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Ivan Toney, as we said, which I think is the biggest surprise of all. Ollie Watkins, another striker going. Noni Madueke gets the nod. That'll create some stirs ahead of the likes of Foden and Palmer. Noni Madueke and his Arsenal teammate Eberichi Eze, both included in this England squad. And finally, Anthony Gordon. It'll take some time for everybody to digest that, but it's pretty much what has been leaked over the last 16 hours or so.
Yeah, here he is. Here's confirmation of the forwards there, as Rob's been saying. So let's go to a former England forward now in Jay Bothroyd. You've heard the full 26-man squad there, Jay. Loads of leaks over the last 24 hours or so. But what stands out to you most from this squad? People who are in or people who are out?
I mean, people who are out, definitely, because of the names. I think, you know, when Thomas Tuchel said at the beginning the kind of players he's going to be selecting, he did mention on form or in form. And players that have been left out, the likes of, you know, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, they are not in form, and he's stuck to his word. So, I mean, when you look at that, I like that, and I always said from the beginning that he should select the players that have been playing well to go into a major tournament. I think when we talk about Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins, I was a little bit surprised because obviously, especially Ivan Toney, he hasn't been anywhere near it pretty much. But then he's probably looking at, I mean, I'm just speculating here, when they was at the Euros last year, they were actually really good, and when Ivan Toney was coming on and Ollie Watkins were coming on, they were making a difference. And I don't think Harry Kane will come off much, but sometimes you need to go up there, play direct football. And when you've got the likes of Ivan Toney that can win the flick-ons, get hold of the ball, it's good for the team, so you can start running off the likes of Harry Kane and you know, whoever's in that midfield, you know, Elliot Anderson. I think it's good. I like it. I like it.
Carve, you're a very experienced correspondent. That's why you're a chief correspondent. But how much has this squad surprised you?
I think it's very shocking, very surprising. I think only Thomas Tuchel would have picked this England squad. I think he's left out some of the most talented English players, and I think this is probably the most shocking England tournament squad since, when was it? 98.
I don't know about that.
Before your time. Since 98, when
Hoddle and
when
Gaza.
Glenn Hoddle left out Paul Gascoigne. I mean, you can make a very, very good case for saying not only should some of the players who've been left out be in England squad, they should be in the starting 11. I mean, he's left out players like Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Adam Wharton, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Trent Alexander-Arnold. These are some of the most talented English players.
Starting though.
Yeah, but because they don't fit into Tuchel's plans. He doesn't want to take, he sees Foden and Palmer as number 10s, and he thinks he's got better options. And Morgan Gibbs-White, but Foden can play out wide. Cole Palmer can play out wide. They can play in different positions.
But he's always said,
Trent Alexander-Arnold.
He's always said, I don't see Phil Foden playing wide anymore. So the fact that he's got Eze there, he's got Bellingham there, he's got Morgan Rogers there, who I think you would agree is in better form than Phil Foden, you can understand why he's left Phil Foden out.
I can't understand it. I can understand why he's done it, because he's doing it. This is his squad. Yeah. This is all about the way he wants England to play, the options he wants to have off the bench. He's got it set in his mind. It's his way or the highway. And if you don't fit into that, you're not going to get in the squad.
The one thing I'd say is, look, we have known for a long time, it's been throughout the whole of Thomas Tuchel's 16-month reign, he's got a problem at number 10. He's got an embarrassment of riches there. There is no other nation on this planet that has the number of world-class options at number 10 that England have got. He said all the way along he couldn't take them all. He would take the tough decisions and leave the big names at home if they weren't performing well or didn't fit into his plans. He's kept to his word on that, in leaving Phil Foden and Cole Palmer out, and Morgan Gibbs-White, we ought to mention as well, who's been outstanding for Forest.
That's one that he maybe should be in.
You could say
that's the one I would say. He's in form.
But is he ever going to get on the pitch? Is he ever going to get on the pitch? The debate about Foden and Palmer and Morgan Gibbs-White will go on and on and on. It's one we've been talking about for 16 months. The real surprise for me is Ivan Toney. We broke you that news on Sky Sports News last night. That's a real surprise. He's not been anywhere near the England squad. He has played a total of 7 minutes in the reign of Thomas Tuchel. That's the only match action he's had on an international stage in that time. Thomas Tuchel brought him in last June for 2 matches. He came on in the 88th minute when England were 3-1 down here against Senegal. Sorry, it was at the City Ground against Senegal. What could he show in that time? Ivan Toney had 2 touches in that 7 minutes. So Ivan Toney has been selected on the basis of 2 touches he's had for England since Thomas Tuchel took the reign. I tell you why he's done it. And everybody knows that Harry Kane is England's first choice number 9. Of course he is. England's record goal scorer. He will start every big game, but it's going to be incredibly hot in America. Thomas Tuchel knows that he can't play every minute. He's going to have to cover him in cotton wool. That's why he's, for the first time, taken 2 other strikers, to give Harry Kane some support, so that he can take Harry Kane off and bring another option on. Rest Harry Kane, keep him for the later stages in the tournament, give him a bit of a rest. That's why he's done it. He's never done it before. We've never seen 3 strikers in a
Can I make the case for Ivan Toney? The only thing I would say in his defence is that I think he knew that there was a good chance he was going to be in this squad for quite a while. I don't think it's shocked him too much. And I think the reason he's in the squad is because the World Cup is so much bigger now. 48 teams, there's an extra knockout round. You're almost guaranteed that if England get out of the group stage, which they will at some point be involved in at least one penalty shootout. And if they're in a penalty shootout, that means Harry Kane is not on the pitch, because Harry Kane ain't going to be playing 120 minutes. Who do you want to take penalties in a penalty shootout? Ivan Toney.
Don't you also want Cole Palmer?
I would have Cole Palmer. I would want Phil Foden.
I agree.
I want Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I agree with you.
I want the best players in the squad.
Ivan Toney done an interview with Darren Lewis recently, and he was saying, if I keep scoring goals and I keep putting in strong performances, I'll be there or thereabouts. So he actually believed that he might get into this squad. Of course, like you said there, he hasn't been around it at all, from what we've seen. But I think when you're scoring goals and you're playing week in, week out, you've always got a chance. And like you said there, he's one of the best penalty takers in the world. He's going to be in that. I'll be honest with you, I don't see Kane coming off the pitch ever unless he's injured. I do not see that. I see players going in to support him, but I don't see him coming off.
But let's stick with the strikers then.
You think he'll play the whole of extra time?
I think he'll play the whole of extra time.
No,
I do.
Come on,
I do. I'll be honest with you. Listen, Kane is one of them players, whether you like it or not, he's going to be telling the manager, I don't want to come off.
But
right?
Tuchel taking off his own.
I don't think so.
Didn't he? I know
Pardon?
he wasn't fully fit at the Euros, but he accepted coming off at the Euros.
No, he
Ollie
will
Watkins
accept
came
it
on.
because he's captain. He has to look that way.
With the strikers, how happy are you as a former striker that there are three? Because we actually thought there might only be two, plus you can put Rashford and Gordon there. But there are three out-and-out strikers as well as Rashford and Gordon.
Yeah, again, like obviously you have to take a squad, right? There's always going to be players there for the what ifs. What if Kane gets injured? You know, obviously Ollie Watkins, yeah, he's done really well when he's come on, especially in the Euros. But you don't know how well he's going to do this particular season. And then same with Ivan Toney. Sometimes you need to have that pivot. So if you do put Watkins in and he's not playing well, at least you've got another choice to put Ivan Toney in to see how he will do. But I think it's good that three strikers have gone. And again, I genuinely believe that Harry Kane will pretty much play every minute of every game. And I feel like if Watkins or Toney is going to come on, it's going to be to play up front with him, not him coming off.
If we need a goal.
Yeah.
Okay. You can see there we've been putting up what the squad is on the side of the screen. But I heard you two earlier on talking about like a starting 11 of players who haven't made it. And you talk about an embarrassment of riches number 10s. If you look at the players who haven't got in, that shows how much depth we've got. There's no excuse for England not winning the World Cup if you can leave out.
Hold on.
If you can afford to leave out Palmer, Foden, Hall,
it's not that. It's not that. When you listen,
then
it's
you've
no
got to be
given.
good enough to win the World Cup.
Yeah, but Tom, it's no given. When you look at the strength in
it's not a
France,
given.
Spain, Germany, Portugal, when you look at all them nations, people are sleeping on all these nations like England have no divine right to go and win with the players that we have at our disposal.
No, but which other nation
France.
can leave out players that we've...
France.
Can I make one point, Tom?
Name 10 like we've...
Tom,
If you give me time, I'll name 10 by the end of the show.
Let me make one point that Carvin and I were discussing recently, and this is a couple of old hacks to kind of work it out. What people forget is that all of the discussion around a World Cup squad announcement are the players on the fringes. Understandably, because we know who the core 16 are always going to be. We could name them now. We could probably name England's starting 11 now, and it's not involving, with all due respect, Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins and some of the other players we're talking about now. England's core 11, core 14, core 16, I think, are going to be the players that are probably going to win England the World Cup. And yet, around a World Cup squad announcement, you get a lot of fringe players and players on the periphery that we're discussing. Because it's not a story that Harry Kane's in the World Cup squad. Of course it's not. So we talk about the players on the periphery. A classic example was the Qatar World Cup 4 years ago. All of the discussion in the media beforehand was centred on James Maddison, who was playing brilliantly for Spurs. And there was a massive debate, should he be in the England squad, should he not? He went to the World Cup. Biggest story of the day, biggest story of the week. He didn't play a single minute of football in that tournament. So let's just remember that when we're arguing about these players who aren't there and those that should be and those that shouldn't be. England's starting 11 and the first 4 or 5 players after that are what really matters.
But then I would say to that, I think them particular England squads, I think players were in there on reputation. Not necessarily because they're playing well. Now, in that instance, Maddison was actually playing well. But I think there was other names in that squad that wasn't playing well, but they're there because they are who they are. And I feel like this is why I like this squad, because he's put players in here that are playing well, that have been good for him when he's selected his teams. The likes of Morgan Rogers. He's been fantastic for Thomas Tuchel. He's played really well. He's scored goals. He's been a threat all the time. I feel like if I'm choosing a team to start today, he's starting as my number 10 today. I don't care, what Bellingham's done in the past. I don't care how good Bellingham is. I'm going with players that have been performing well recently for me.
We were talking about the players who haven't made it there. Let's go back to that because we've got a list of the amount of talent that England have not picked in this 26-man squad. We listed a few of them there with Lewis Hall, Cole Palmer, etc. This is an actual 11 for players who haven't gone. Okay, Nick Pope there, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I know we want to talk more about him. Maguire, who announced this himself that he wasn't in the squad. Levi Cole's been injured, but he's come back now and been very good. Luke Shaw, we've mentioned. Adam Wharton, not in the squad. Jared Bowen, we haven't mentioned him. Palmer, Gibbs-White, Foden, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin there up front. I mean, that is... How far would that go? And then, Carve, how far would that side go at the World Cup? That starting
they'll definitely get out of the group stage. In the group stage, I mean, it's going to be a walk in the park to get out of the group stage. You need one win.
You would think.
You need one win. If England beat Panama, they'll get through to the knockout stages. And I think that team potentially is as good as any side that Thomas Tuchel can pick at the World Cup. I'm just flabbergasted that a player like Cole Palmer is not in the England squad.
Is he the one?
I'm flabbergasted that, you know, like Levi Colwill's not in the England squad. I think Colwill and Maguire could be England's first choice two centre backs.
Of that squad there that we've just
Gay.
seen, of that squad that I've just seen there, the ones that I would have in my squad today is Maguire. I'd have Maguire in over Quansah
100%.
for sure, because I think he brings experience. He's good in both boxes. We know how important set pieces are. And Luke Shaw. I like Luke
100%.
Shaw there. Luke Shaw is going to be in there as a left back.
He's played every single game for Manchester
Yeah,
United.
exactly. If
He's got tournament experience.
Exactly. And when he's played for England, he plays well. Like you said, and he's an experienced player. He gets good balls in the box. I'm surprised that he's not in there.
And for me, I think you're right. For me, the biggest surprise is Harry Maguire. And if we look at the defence, we look at the centre of England's defence, we know that Thomas Tuchel's first choice throughout the whole of qualifying has been Mark Gay and Ezri Konsa. I expect them to be his first choices. They're nailed on as England's first two. But why wouldn't you take Harry Maguire? 66 England caps. Fresh, because he's only played the last 14 games for Manchester United. He's played 14 of 16 under Michael Carrick. Only two he missed was because of suspension. He's been to 3 major tournaments. And I mean, absolutely no disrespect to Dan Burn and to Jarrell Quansah, who have been included in this. But why would you not think of Harry Maguire ahead of some of those options? That's the one I can't quite get my head round. Because he's got the experience, he's in form, he's pretty fresh. And that's the one I can't quite get my head around. Everything else is a subjective call. But for me, that one strikes out.
Here's a question I have for you. Obviously, there's one more game in the Premier League left tomorrow, right? Do you think Tuchel is a kind of manager that, depending on who gets injured, let's say a right back gets injured, do you think he's been in Trent, or do you think he's just bringing in another player?
I don't think he's bringing in Trent. And do you know what? As a football fan, it saddens me that a player of Trent Alexander-Arnold's quality will not be at this World Cup, will not be gracing this World Cup. I understand Thomas Tuchel's arguments why. He wants defenders who are primarily defenders. He wants his fullbacks to defend. He's got so much attacking talent on the pitch. He wants his fullbacks to sit deep and defend, which is not what Trent Alexander-Arnold does. But he's been outstanding for Real Madrid recently. The thought that he's not at that World Cup, the thought that Phil Foden, who is one of my favourite footballers, is not at that World Cup. Yeah. I know he's not performed for Manchester City. I know he's been struggling with England and disappointed on numerous occasions. But him and Cole Palmer and Trent Alexander-Arnold, it's a massive call for Thomas Tuchel to leave those players out. And I tell you what, it's going to be hot in the US. Thomas Tuchel will feel that heat if the England performances and results do not start going well, because there is a lot of people out there, fans and media, who will be ready to attack him and say, you've left some of the best players in the world at home.
Can I ask what it's like for you in that news conference, and you've been in them as well, Carvey, is that with this England squad, there's so many good stories, positive stories, but the fact is, the viewers and the fans, you have to actually ask about the negative ones. You have to talk about the ones who've been left out, which the manager doesn't want to talk about. He'll say, I want to talk about the 26 men that I've
100%.
selected, not the ones who've left out. But you've got to ask those questions. How hard is that for you?
Do you know what? I love it, and Thomas Tuchel loves it as well. He loves a row with the media. Carvey's seen it and done it, and it'll be Carvey interviewing all the time out there in the matchday -1 news conferences the day before the game, as we call them. He likes a row. He likes to be challenged if you're asking him about football questions. If you're asking an intelligent question that's justifiable and you back it up with evidence, and he likes that. He likes the football chat, and so. Yeah, bring it on. What have we got? It's going to be in 35 minutes where I'm going to be talking to the England manager, and I've got some tough questions for him. Simple as that, because some of his decisions I don't agree with, some of them I don't understand, like Carvey.
You do, right. OK, so we've got the 26-man England squad for the World Cup. As Rob says, we'll be hearing from Thomas Tuchel at 11 o'clock here at Wembley. But until then, we have got loads more to discuss about this squad.